Yeah, I think we can start. Three minutes. No, they do it later when they edit the material. Yeah, they just add pictures of people to the material. Okay, can we start? Okay, thank you. Thank you for coming uh, on this unfortunate time. There's no better time for financial talk than Sunday morning. Yeah, but to encourage you to make you interested, we will not be talking about some theoretical aspects of money management. I will show you how much money I'm making in my organization, and you will see exact numbers of Wikimedia Poland and how much do we earn, how much we spend, and how we do it. My name is Grzegorz. I'm a CEO of Wikimedia Poland, and I'll show you the demonstration on a living organism, which is our budget. So, uh, some people say that numbers are very boring, but in the but in the fact is that they are probably the only one real and objective, eternal and unchanging entities. We know that the number one exists, but no one saw it, right? You only saw the graphic example of number one, but you know that number one as number one exists somewhere else. So this is the where the philosophy of Greek uh, ancient philosopher Plato starts, and it's the same belief that the tax office have and using during the approach to control you and your organizations. So when it comes to numbers and creating budget, everything looks like creating a story because behind the numbers there's a story, and it looks like every other story, like a novel or a movie. At the beginning, there's a exposition, and you have to know what your current state is, and then the action is rising. We'll go back to this. So the first step when it comes to budgeting is to check how we were doing in the past and where we are now. So this, for example, is how we were doing in 2023. As you see in some categories, like the first one, we earn more money than we expected. We expected 1 million and we earn 1,181,000. In other categories, it wasn't so good. But at the end, we make it till 99%. So we know where we were and what to expect in the next year. Now, this chart was for incomes, for our revenues. For example, 1 million is around 220,000 euros. Okay. And this is how we spend the money. That's not the whole budget. We have much more categories, but the screen is too small to show it. What you see here is the our departments, the open culture department and the community support department. What you see here in this column is the budget. What you see here is how much we spent and what's left. The colors show the percentage of use. So when it's green, it means we didn't touch the money. And the more red it is, we are closing to zero. So when you manage the budget, you towards your eye into colors, so you know how we do it. And it's obviously done automatically. I will tell you how. So the step 2 is realizing that there's a time for the plan for the next year. And that's where the action starts. So this is our revenue plan for 2024. As you see, the last year in this category, we earn 1,181,000. This year, we wanted to make it up to 1,400,000. We did not, but we still made quite all right. And that's the rest of the categories. As you see, we are ambitious and we wanted to earn more money than last year. And it looks like we'll be doing all right. So in this step, it's the time to gather your resources. Like in a movie, when you have something to do, like, I don't know, Frodo and his friends started their journey. First, they gathered the team, the armory, the magic swords and things like this. So this is the first step for creating the budget. You start with revenues to find out how much money you have to spend it. The better and more action is in the next step because you are working on spending the money. And so in this step, in this step, it's important to share all the budget into categories, into departments. And if you have a structure like us, you can leave everyday decisions to the department manager. So, for example, again, open culture department, there's a Camila, our open culture manager, and she knows that she's got, for example, 20,000 Polish zloty to spend on wiki residency programs, delegations, organizing events in museums, and so on. So when we update the budget every 2 weeks, Camila is looking at this and she sees that, okay, I still have, let's say, 10,000 in September, so I can still organize what I planned. And what it's really helpful is these categories in column number 1. I'll show you how it's improve and makes all things automatic. So usually at the beginning is everything okay, but then problems arise. And now we're skipping to the real spreadsheet that I'm working on every day. So I will show you our real budget, and it's open to the public because we are transparent, and everyone who wants to know how much money we spend and what we do with the money. For example, you can go to this page, which is the registry of all uh, agreements we sign every year. You can do things like Control F, type my name, and you see that in, for example, January, I sign an appendix to my work contract, like other employees, and this is my monthly earning. You'll also see that I sign another contract for this amount of money. So this is open to the public and everyone can go there. It's all, we got also this kind of site where we have all these plans and all reports, yearly reports that we send to the state and to other organizations, and everyone can have a look how we're doing. So let's go to the budget. So the whole budget looks like this. You see, we have 5 departments. There's open culture, community support, open education and science, communication and fundraising, administration. This is out of departments. It's for uh, uh, things like the anti-burnout program, and some others, like, I don't know, buying a study for an employee, or volunteer workshops and things like this. And this is our reserve. If something comes out during the month, during the year, we have this optional spendings here. So we are in September, and as you see, the colors are more and more red and less green. So it means managers of these departments are spending the money. It also means that the plans and programs they do are running. If there's somewhere a green color, that's a warning that I see, and Anki said, hey, why do you don't spend money from these categories? It could be like, oh, I forgot about this, but it usually is that no, we postponed the program for the winter, or we decided to do it in December. So this way, it's easy to look how employees are doing. And when it comes to small amounts, they don't have to ask us if they can spend it. They see it in the budget, how much money they have, how much money they spend, what's left, and they can do it. Obviously, if they can buy something more expensive than, I don't know, the tickets and services for delegation, they usually ask. But trust is one of the bases of our organizational culture. So the managers are doing quite all right, and they feel good when they can do it and in this way. So this is the budget. These are the categories in column A. And why it's so important to have these categories? Because when I update all the transaction we're making in this tab, I can't show you the tab because there's lots of personal data. So I will go here. It's the same, but the ChatGPT changed the names into just random symbols. So we will not reveal, I don't know, secret information and fragile information. So this is these are all transactions we make. But this is all the spendings until a week ago. And as you see here, there are categories. And this is amount, how much we spent. This is the name of the service provider we paid. And this is the invoice number that goes with it. So when you look at this, for example, spending, the category is W11. You go back to the budget, you see here, there's a category W11 means subscriptions. It's for Wikimedians who wants us to buy them access to magazines, to databases. So we have special budget for this. And every time we purchase anything, we put here W11. It means that it's automatically updated here. So we started the year with 6,000 zloty. We have already spent 1,700. So it's still 4,000 left. So Marek, our organizational specialist, knows that there's still money, and if any Wikipedian comes and asks, buy me an access to Birds of the World database, Marek knows that there's still money and he can buy it for him. So as you see, this is our whole year. We are making around 200 transactions a month, and the number is rising. It scares me a bit because this makes our accountancy costs higher. So when it comes to spending, not only this part is automatically updated. We have other tabs and other very important financial information that needs to be updated also automatically. So as you know, we are fiscal sponsor of CEE Hub. So all CEE Hub transactions go through our bank, and it's the same. When I update the budget, the all transaction, Barbara knows that we spent this amount already in this category. So she's got this amount for her needs, and she can still use it or stop using and move this money into other category. We also have a grant from foundation. So instead of writing report at the end, the very last week of the reporting time, we do it every day because that's the budget of the grant, and it's also updated automatically. As you see, this is the money we got. This is the money we got from Wikimedia Foundation, and this is how much we spent. This is left, and it's also done automatically, which is very important and saves us lots of time. And it's all made by very simple formulas. Everyone, not only spreadsheet ninjas, can create these formulas. So and it's everything for free. So you could also buy very expensive tools to financial management, but I guess for NGO like us, it would be just not necessarily spend money. So, but there are not only transactions coming outside. We got also transactions coming inside. So we also update the all revenues that we got. So the last revenue update was was a week ago. So again, ChatGPT changed the names here. I asked it to do it, and it did very well. So the amounts here are real, the names here are not. So these people make donations to Wikimedia Poland, And we also have different categories here. Like we have a category of donation from private people, we have grants, we have the category of the services we provide and we charge for, and so on. So as you see, it looks almost the same like transactions that go outside, but the change is that there is no minus here, but it's a plus. So how are we doing with revenues this year? As you see, this is, for example, the amount we expected, and this is amount we got. And that's it, because we know that the campaign is finished. So we made only 88% this year, which is quite disappointing, but we're not panicking. But this is the most important category when it comes to our financials. It's a campaign addressed to taxpayers. It goes like every year you have to obviously report your taxes to the state, and you are allowed to point one NGO organization which you want to give your 1% of a tax. So we have a group of regular taxpayers. It's around 8,000 of them in whole Poland who do it every year. It looks like the number is going a bit down. We think it's about it was probably about the situation in Ukraine when some people switched into supporting refugees, but it also it's very important to look at the changes in tax regulations, and sadly said, but the Wikipedians are not getting younger. So this is probably the generation that it's not around 25, 35. It's more like 50, 60. And we know that simply some of them are passing out. So this is how it looks this year, how we doing. As you see, the more green, the better we're doing. So for example, when it comes to the services we provide and we charge, we did very well so far. We wanted to earn 25,000. We already made 32,000. The same is with, for example, financial incomes. We invest part of the money into national bonds, treasury bonds. So we plan to earn 100,000. We made almost exactly the same number. So in September, we are at this point. So we gathered 91% of the money we expected. So with this spreadsheet, you can do everything. For example, you can create diagrams. If your board is, and it is probably made out of volunteers, they don't have time to study every transaction. So the chair, he just looks at this page and he sees that, oh, this year we're going like this with revenues. And the structure of revenues is one of the most important thing for us, because we used to depend mostly on the taxpayers and on grants from Wikimedia Foundation. So we only had two serious incomes. But this graph shows that it's changing, and it's changing quite rapidly. So the campaign makes only 58%, and Wikimedia Foundation makes only 22%. And these numbers are getting lower. So it means we are earning more money from other sources. And that's one of our strategic goals, to make better in all these small categories. Um, So that's how it looks when it comes to revenues. And as I said, with the spreadsheet, you could do everything when it comes to graphs and when it comes to uh, showing how you're doing. For example, we don't have to worry about uh, money liquidity yet because we have two major transactions coming a year. The grant from Wikimedia Foundation at the beginning of the year and the transfer from taxpayers in the middle of the year. So we know that this money will come, and it's not like in a company that, well, I used to run a company, so we were selling services, and we hope that our customers will pay on time, so we will have money to pay our employees, right? We don't have to worry about this yet in Wikimedia Poland because the date of transfer incoming are known, and we more or less expect how much will it come. Um, so it looks like you know everything about the budget. Uh, we can go back to the slides. So everything in this spreadsheet is based on very simple formulas, and don't be afraid of using spreadsheet because even if you don't know how to do that, you all have enough imagination to ask Google or ChatGPT. And if you know what spreadsheet is for, you will know how to ask the question. So every year and the trouble and unexpected circumstances are coming. It's, as I said, like in the movie. So we also have to be prepared to fight with any troubles. Like a year ago, we organized, you probably know, the Guinness World Record in longest editathon. So we expected 50 people to come. That was in the middle of the week, so people had to take off from their work. So we hope that 50 people will come and will do it. So we booked accommodation and catering for 50 people. At the very last days, it appeared that there are 127 people, but the budget was for 50 people. And it was September, so most of the money was spent, but still there was time to make changes in the budget because we had some reserve and we still have money left in other categories. So we ask employees, do they really need it? Can they postpone the spendings? So the additional money for this event were huge. We expected to spend around 70,000, but we spent almost 200,000. Yeah, but even this amount didn't make a huge gap in the budget because we started to switch the spendings, and it looks like we more or less succeeded in this. So this year, for example, when you see the budget of community support, you see red colors. So we have already spent much more in category W16, which is the participation, community participation in international events. Most of this money was spent on Wikimania and for the accommodation for Polish community. We plan to spend 90,000. We have already spent more than 100,000, but I'm quite calm with it because I know that among these spendings, we purchase services and things for Wikimedia Foundation, so they will reimburse us and we will get some money back. So not panicking is one of the major tip I got. Wikimedians and people around Wikimedia have imagination, they are smart, and they will come out of every trouble. So the climax, as every movie, there's a climax, and you realize that you succeed or you fail. And it's when the report from your accountant is coming. We more or less know how much we spend. The numbers are quite exact, but it's accountant at the end of the year that is making the report knows better. It's much more complicated to create an accounting report for state institutions. We have lots of transactions in foreign currencies, for example, and it make at the end of the year, uh, exchange rate make bigger or smaller, but it always makes quite a difference to the financial report. But the difference is not that high that we should worry. Okay, so and at the end, as in every movie, uh, there's a small amount of time for resolution when the main hero or main character in the movie realized that he succeeded because of the values that he believed or the support he got, and that's how where the support in Wikimedia Poland is coming from. And yeah, I got a list of tips. So when you create the budget, you always start with your past spendings and past revenues. The worst thing that could happen is that let's say the September or October is coming and you realize that you forget about something in your budget that you paid in late at the year and you didn't plan the money for it. So planning based on the past is minimizing this risk. It's obvious that you start planning first with revenues, the incomes, so you know how much money you have. When it comes to spending and making plans of spending, you start with fixed costs. It means the cost you have to pay. It's salaries, it's office rent, it's taxes, and things like this. It's good to divide budgets into categories and groups, and iron spending and some kind of reserve, but don't be too general. But on the other side, don't be too detailed. I remember years ago, we even reported the spendings divided into tea and coffee. So these categories were involved in reporting. Now, it's enough if you have one category for office maintenance. So it means rent, it means coffee, milk, and paper for your printer. Uh, that's enough. Yeah, update the spendings and the revenue regularly and observe what happens with all the money. I do it, at least I try to do every 2 weeks. Uh, it still can't be done fully automatically because I have to log into our bank account, uh, create a file, and then pass the file into our budget. I can't do it through ChatGPT because I will not give ChatGPT my login to bank system. There are always additional costs. For example, when it comes to salaries, you have to obviously remember that there are additional taxes and social security costs. As I said, don't be afraid of spreadsheet. Use your imagination. They are simple and they are fun. So, yeah. Everyone can do it. I can do it. It means that everyone can do that. Be transparent internally and outside. So uh, people will trust you. The people that gives you money will trust you because they see how you spend it, and your employees will trust you because they also see how you spend the money. They can even compare how much money every employee is making every year. So that clears the atmosphere in the organization. Uh, on the other hand, it could be the source of trouble, but that's another type of management. Be flexible and don't panic. If anything happens, uh, everything can be fixed. And trust your coworkers. So that's it. Do you have any questions, remarks? Yeah.
Okay. I have one more question that how you work together with the bookkeeper. It's because you do these tables which are basically what the bookkeeper would do, just changing into the legal framework, but you give this table to the bookkeeper and use this table as these are the two questions.
Yeah. So no, let me come back here. Yeah. We reporting every year how we spend the money and if we did it according to the budget or not. So that's this one. You see, that's the report for 2023, and you see the percentage of the plan which is done or which some in some category was not done. And this is this is just a total view on the budget, but you got the same view. You got the same view here. And because we are working on yearly plans, we almost don't do anything which is not expected. It almost doesn't happen. Well, it could happen that we spend on one particular project much more money, but we don't add new projects during the year if they were not planned.
So if during the year somebody come to you that we have a great idea in
Yeah, yeah,
we
we have to refuse. I mean, yeah, we have a line of organizations that are coming, and that's true. The line is bigger every year. They coming during the year and ask, "Hey, we got great idea. Let's do it together." And we usually say, "Yeah, we could do it, but next year." Yeah, we're really sorry about because they sometimes have really great ideas, but you can't do everything with limited resources. And the other question was about the bookkeeper. Yeah, we have a accounting office that does all the accounting. So the accountant's got access to the spreadsheet and he looks at all the transactions and he reports it every month. And he also got access to our cloud folder with all the invoices. This cloud folder is divided into months. So he's sitting in his office, he clicks, he sees if we got all the invoices. If something is missing, he calls me and he says, "Where's the invoice for this?" So this is, for example, this column is for ticking. Yeah, we got invoice for this. So as you see, I haven't updated this column yet, but when we go to August, you see that everything is okay. Okay. Do we have time for another question? Okay, so thank you very much. Yeah, that was an unfortunate time, but you woke up and came. Thank you. Mm.
Philip is coming in a 5 minutes. He's in Izmir. Now he's coming.
Hello. Sorry for being late. I was in a different session on a panel, so I thought this was going to start later. That's fine. We don't have maybe 45 minutes of content here. But hello, everyone. I'm Philip. I'm a board member of Wikimedia Serbia, and I'm here to present someone else's work. And that's pretty ungrateful because I haven't been a part of this, but it's interesting. It's a very interesting piece of work, so I'm really glad to be able to present it on behalf of Professor Ranka Stankovic, who's our member of Wikimedia Serbia and very long-time contributor. I saw her a few days ago. She gave me her full blessing for this, so here we go. So what we're talking about here is the wiki project WikiLTech, which sounds a bit techy or weird, I know, but I'm going to explain it. So it's a project that started 2 years ago, and this is the second iteration of it, and the third one is ongoing. So it's a long-term project where we, as Wikimedia Serbia, support NLP, basically natural language processing, so machine learning and other AI algorithms to enhance Wikidata. And we'll see in what ways exactly. So LTEC stands for, I don't know what. No, you'll see. I don't want to spoil it. But yeah, the thing is that we're talking here about Serbian novels. So basically, there are several corpuses or corpi, I don't know, collections of works that are in public domain, so they're pretty old, so that you as a person, regular person, can manipulate it. So you can do whatever you want with it, and several of those have been used in this particular project, and what they have been focused on were works of Serbian literature between 1840 and 1920. So for sure in the public domain, no copyrights attached, so quite easy to work with. And the idea is that they should be obscure. They shouldn't be something that everyone knows about, that's part of the, school work, etc., but something that's a bit more unheard of, so they wanted to illuminate it. That's a translation word I used, maybe not the best one, but it's sort of metaphorical, because they wanted to sort of bring it to people's attention, that these works exist, they have value, but they're underrated and underrepresented in curriculums. So what are we going to talk about today? So it's a long road to Wiki. There are several steps that you need to, overcome or go through to reach the results that I'll show you later. There have been some challenges, and yeah, I'll show how the Wikidata structure is laid about, and what we have achieved. I might use we and they interchangeably here, just for the simplicity's sake. So the goals were to sort of take all that literature data, basically. It's considered data, right? So the novels, the full texts of novels, which would then be scanned, OCR'd, and analyzed with NLP algorithms to produce some structured data, which is harder than it looks, or maybe not even as hard as it might look to someone. So yeah, LTEC stands for European Literary Text Collection. So it's a European-wide project, but it has been, so here we've used only Serbian and maybe some others, we'll see later. So 100 novels. 100 is a nice number, right? It's pretty round. People like to, it's 3-digit, so people like to use it. And there are several sub collections and etc. That's not really important, but what's important here is that what sort of structured data has been produced as a result. So we have Wikidata data regarding novels, and there are various analog and digital releases. So release management here is something that some people don't really pay attention to. So it's really important when the release date was, where, what publisher. There may be several editions of a single book, so that's something that's important to note because, you know, for librarian information, that's really, really important. So then we have information about authors and everything that related to them. Then we have something that's not really common on Wikidata, and that's novel characters. So fictional characters, maybe sometimes not fictional, because, you know, novels can include historical people, that have been mentioned in all these novels. And yeah, some other things, I don't want to reveal them too soon. So the rationale was that the promotion of this resource is very important and adds to the visibility of the Serbian language, culture, literature, etc. And then, yeah, I mean, this helps Wikidata become more full, right? But also could help, it currently doesn't, but it could help with sourcing Wikipedia articles about these novels. So the target groups here are basically historians, historians of literature, other culture workers, but also students and kids that learn, but also everyone who hasn't had the chance to read this, and that's most of people, actually. But then you might see, some of you might, few of you, very few of you might actually understand the Cyrillic text here, or maybe Latin, but like Duchess the Curve is one of the more famous works of art, but then this is really not. So, you know, there might have been some balance there. Okay, so what has been developed are resources. So not just the end products. The end product is Wikidata filled with a lot of data, but also tools, the resources that were used for all this work. So it's basically open source. It's on GitHub. You can download it. You can use it for your own language. It might not work as well on your language because languages are notoriously hard to, you know, implement in terms of NLP, but it can be useful as a starting ground. And yeah, this is all part of the digital library Aurora, which was developed by Jertech. I haven't mentioned Jertech. It's the basically the NGO, the organization that we partnered with that has hosted and developed all of this. Jertech is the basically the shorthand for language, resources, and technology. And they are one of the few NLP based NGOs in Serbia that have mixed academy, so academia, basically the universities and regular people. So and also we have I'll show you several examples of Sparkle queries that you can use to basically get some information out of Wikidata. So the point of all this is not just to put data in, but also to get data out in different ways, of course. So let's go to the meat. Let's go to the weeds. Basically, this on the left-hand side is what you get when you scan an old published novel from the 19th century. It's not pretty. It's not perfect. You can see the yellow page. You know, the age has done its wonders. There are also some embellishments, like the capital S. This is the Cyrillic S, snag, snow. That's something that also has to come into consideration. So the first part of the work is, the first step is scanning. Let's just digitize what we have in analog form to the digital form. But also, we can't really do anything with just scanned paper. We need to OCR it. Optical character recognition, or OCR, is something that's very important, and it's not perfect. It's something that a machine does to sort of recognize each and every character and translate it into a character in a font that's usable today and used by every one of us. So you can see that some of those recognitions, the R part of the OCR, were not perfect. So for example, this character, you see the pointer, that's E, Cyrillic E. It has been translated to P, and it does look the same, well, similar, because the diagonal line here is very thin, very narrow, so it can't really detect it. It's subpixel. So you can see that it's consistently translated as P instead of I. So, you know, if there are some errors that are consistent, you can actually quite easily remove those errors with algorithms. You can detect where there's a P, but it should be an I. So things like that can be easy to detect, but some others, some artifacts, you know, some dust, some unwanted elements in the printed version might, or even the scan, can sort of not help you here. So you need to do thorough reading and correction of this. So that takes time. That takes resources. That doesn't necessarily take a lot of professional resources in terms of like people who have PhDs, right? Anyone can go through this text and help out, and it's usually people who are, you know, aspiring PhD students who want to become professors at some point. But yeah, these get corrected. And after correction, we have something like this. Oh yeah, and I didn't mention the S, which converted to a J and a copyright symbol and a dot for some reason, but that's how computers work. So all of these get marked somehow. Don't ask me why this format, but these pluses actually help with with this. And after automatic correction, so automatic correction does a lot of wonders, but also leaves like this J and copyright mark, which has to be turned into S manually probably. And like this dot, it shouldn't be there. It's an artifact, and it probably it's an L which got turned into a dot and a T by mistake, but then, you know, that's easy to correct. So automatic correction does cool things, but it's not perfect. You have to go through it manually. All right, now that we corrected the text, we have the text that's perfect. Like, let's say that it has no errors, it's really well written. What we need to do next is tag it. So tagging text is something that's very important because it adds some structure to it. And there are many tags that bear some information. For example, one of the basic elements is the div. This is the XML structure. Some of you might recognize the XML language here or syntax here. And yeah, this is basically XML, but it has some custom tags. Div is actually an HTML tag, but it's been repurposed here as well, like a block of text, like basically almost a paragraph. So it's a div, and then we provide the type that it's a chapter, but also it can be a part of a chapter. Also, we have new page markers, that's the PB, page break, and the number of page. So that sort of helps you out to map the final text back to the original text, which was paginated, right? It was aligned, it was collated in pages, whereas the final text will be just a huge string of text without any pages, because, you know, digital texts don't require pages in that way. And then splitting into paragraphs is automatic within chapters. We also can add a title tag, so we can add titles, for chapters or subchapter elements. There are also line groups and lines, which can be used for poems or stanzas, or, you know, all sorts of texts that conform to a different alignment and different ways of formatting. Then we can have foreign language, which is really important. Especially in Cyrillic texts, when it refers to, for example, Latin. That probably isn't the case too much for texts from the 19th century, but you know, speaking more generally, this can be used for any sorts of text, and modern texts include a lot of foreign words. And we define the language with lang parameter or attribute. And we can also highlight text, anything that's otherwise stressed or highlighted or underlined, bolded, italic, cursived, wherever, or increased in size, that can be highlighted so that that information is conveyed later on. So, and I didn't mention TEI. TEI is an international standard for tagging elements in text. So this is what this looks like. You can see here there are basically these are GitHub repositories. These links work, so you can go there and basically browse all these XMLs which represent the text, and you can, of course, you probably won't be able to understand them, but you can see what the outcome looks like. So you can see the XMLs, sorry, the XMLs and all their information, so both metadata and data. But we're also missing some metadata because and also some other steps. We need to do some further processing because this is still not enough. What we need to do is include some AI, basically. So machine learning algorithms that are used here are used for NLP purposes for tagging word classes, so or word types. So we want to know what each word means, semantically means. So not necessarily semantically means, but like, what's its function in the sentence. So we know that this is a noun, this is a verb, this is an adjective, etc. But also we want to lemmatize all the words. We want to pull out lemmas, let's say the parts of the words that bear meaning without any suffixes. Serbian is very declined language. It has a lot of declension and a lot of conjugation, so there are a lot of word forms, not as nearly the same as Hungarian here. I'm looking at you two guys, but or Finnish or Estonian, but we're happy with our 7 cases. So yeah, that needs to be removed because it probably doesn't bear too much meaning. And we also tag named entities. So named entities are something that's really, really important because it will help us out in the later part of the process, because named entities mean personal names. So my name or your name, but also organizations, roles in the context, place names, what have you. So anything that can be considered a proper noun or personal noun, or whatever you call it. And so the Yertech website contains a lot of tools and some resources that you can use for this. I won't go into too many detail because it's too technical, but if you're interested, I can point you to someone who can help you out. So yeah, I mentioned also metadata. Metadata is very important because it provides not just the text and descriptions of the text, but also the publishing information. So we have descriptions of the electronic edition, because what we've basically done is created an electronic edition. So it's LTEC edition, basically, and that's how you will find it in Wikidata. But also some other publishing, let's say, information like the title, the authors, the people who were responsible in any ways, like scanning, correction, annotations. That's for electronic edition, but there are also people who are responsible for print editions as well, like correctors and publishers, etc. But also some other metadata like the release date counts, word count or page count. So yeah, also identifiers, foreign external identifiers can be included, like VIAF. I don't know what that stands for, but it's there, and Wikidata identifiers as well, like Q name. Yeah, and there are some other data that can be included optionally, like data related to balance criteria, like author's gender, size. I'm not sure what author's size mean, but like I think it's the size of the publication and release date, and some other descriptions. So that can look like this. So this is the XML that I mentioned. It has the TE header. There's the title statement with a reference to Wikidata. You can see the Q number here. There's the language information, VIAF reference, and then we have responsibility statements, so responsible people. That's well, the responsible institution here, that the scanning is done by University Library in Belgrade. OCR is done by Professor Ranka and Cvetana, and coding for LTEC is also done by Professor Cvetana. So we have the word count, it's 41,000, and we have a page count, 239, and some other references, mostly to Zenodo those of you in the library business will probably know what that is. And also we have original publication details, like who's the author, Čedomir Mijatović. We have the title, the publisher, the date, and the Kobis number. That's the cataloging number used in Serbia back then, when we didn't have ISBNs. Okay, so moving on to Wikidata. This is what the structure looks like on Wikidata. It's a bit convoluted, it's a bit complex, but bear with me. So we start with probably text corpus. It's like the most abstract thing here. And then we have subclass of that, which is the LTEC collection. That's the way to aggregate all these things that they've been working on. And we have several LTEC collections, which have derived from different corpuses, and they're all published in an electronic edition, which is a subclass of print edition for some reason. But we also have first edition and digital edition. So all of these are basically subclasses of edition, and edition could be so a subclass of edition is publication, and or rather edition is a subclass of publication, and publication is a subclass of work, which is like, again, an abstract thing. And then we have a literary work, which has, what's that, edition or translation, which is this edition, but it also has an author, which is a creator, which is also a person who's a human. So we gotta love Wikidata for that. And literary works also have fictional characters, which are basically a subclass of literary characters are a subclass of fictional characters, and we have narrative locations. So that's also something that can be used in novels, and that's a subclass of geographic location. So it's a bit complex, but it represents what types of data have been input into Wikidata in order to sort of populate it based on these texts. So basically, what I've shown previously, like this XML, has to be mapped somehow into Wikidata. And here we don't really use AI. It's just a deterministic algorithm. It pretty much maps one-to-one from these TE headers or attributes to concrete P or Q pages, or basically properties or Wikidata items. And we can see this is maybe a foreign example where we have a Spanish or something like that, Catule Bendes, maybe sounds maybe Hungarian, Hungarian Spanish, doesn't matter. But yeah, we have a lot of information that basically relates to this structure that we saw on the previous slide. So we have LTEC edition, but we also have data that pertains to the digital edition, to the print edition, and to the first edition. So all of that gets populated. So yeah, this is like what it looks like, but it gets complicated as well, because I mentioned the named entities, which include the personal names. What we use that for is to populate the Wikidata with fictional characters. So here we have Nečista krv, which is one of the more famous examples of Serbian literature from the turn of the century, and we have Sofka, Mita, Teodora, which are characters in that piece of work. So they have pers, the person, right, tags in the annotated version. So that gets converted to Wikidata, and then we have 4 Wikidata items for all of those characters. And then if you're inclined, you can, elaborate on Wikidata about those characters and their relationships. It allows it. And then that gets connected to the author, the distributor on Zenodo, the publisher, number of pages, and etc. So everything gets connected in Wikidata, and we all know from previous experience that connections can give us a lot of insights. You can cross-reference data and then get nice visualizations. So this is the example how it looks like on Wikidata. It's Cyrillic, so bear with me. So this is Ivkova Slava, another one of the more famous publications. Yeah, so it's LTEC edition. So we have some labels here. We have word counts. So we have the property and we have the value, and they represent a statement. They can be there can be references. There can be VF identifiers. So anything that's and everything that I mentioned is here. So yeah, this is a bit more complex. This shows basically all the editions that there are. So this is the LTEC edition. No, this is the original edition, the Q this number, but it has references to all the other editions, including the LTEC edition. So the editions themselves have to be intertwined and connected. So these are some RDF statements. So you can basically on query wikidata.org get basically a list of statements, like Ivko Slava is a literary work with the author Stevan Stremac, with the language Serbian, in a place of development of the plot in Belgrade, and but also in Niš. It was published in LTEC corpus, and the title is that, and the plot is happening during the time of Đurđevdan, which is a special holiday. So these are the characters, and this is the information about the author. He's a man. He's a human who who is a male, and he was born in Senta. So these are the types of information that we now have, and then we can query and find and maybe use in Wikipedia articles and some other places. But also data entry automation is very important, because what they could have done here is created a bot. What I would have done here is created a bot, a PyWiki bot, to transfer all that tagged XML information to Wikidata. But what they did was arguably even better. They used OpenRefine and quick statements. So very developed tools that exist, that have been in use for years, and that are proven to work well. So using those two tools, they were able to import all of the information. These are the interface screenshots. Maybe they mean something to you, maybe they don't. But yeah, this is the quick statements, where they can, with quick manipulations in text format, prepare something like this, and then that gets imported into Wikidata quite quickly. So I don't want to dwell too much on that. So basically, Sparkle. Let's move on to data extraction, because we've entered the data. Data is in Wikidata. We're very happy, but we want to find out how that can be useful. So I don't want to go through Sparkle. There have been many opportunities to teach that, and to hear about that. But the point is that we can find, for example, all of the these are all the titles that exist, that are works of literary work. But something that's really relevant to this is all the SERP LTEC, so the corp for all the works of all the novels basically from this collection, SERP LTEC. And this is the query, and all the queries are linked, so you can basically check them out, and you get this. It's basically a list of authors with each of them having a sublist of their published works that are part of this collection. Not really interesting, but it's a way to sort of catalogize or aggregate everything that you've done. Yeah, this is quite similar. All the collections from authors. Well, this is just one level above. Let's see all the collections and then drill down. But here we have something that's more interesting. This is a bubble chart of novels with numbers of pages and number of words that have this external VIAF ID. So you can see that some of them are larger, some of them are smaller, and this is, for example, the largest. For instance, I haven't heard of it, but that's the point. It is large, but it's very obscure. So there's something there. This one, Popcire Popspira, it's a very famous one, so that doesn't really sound too weird. We've looked at this example and this. So it's balanced. We can also visualize by create a timeline, and if there are, because we've been working with printed copies, so you can always take a photo or scan the front page, so we can supply that on Wikidata, so we can create this timeline with all this so to see what's the distribution of these publications and if there's any bias. Of course, in the early Victorian age, let's call it that way, there were fewer publications, but that's just related to the Serbian struggle for independence from Ottoman Empire. Who said that? So um, so yeah, that's the visualization. We can also map places of the novel, of where the novels have been published. So, but also where the novels were taking place. So the plots of the novels were taking place. So anything with geographic coordinates can help. These are a bubble graph of places that have been mentioned in all these novels. So you can see Serbia and Belgrade are dominating, but Istanbul is like the third mentioned name, which is quite interesting because it does reflect the era. We were still relying on and being in some relations with the Turks. Vienna is also there because the northern part of Serbia was quite reliant on Vienna. Bosnia and Herzegovina, Turska, Turkey, Paris, Kosovo, Niš, Russia, USA for some reason. So it goes on and on. I see Constantinople here as well, so there are different ways to name the same place, etc. So this is to me quite interesting. But we can also create interactive graphs. Let's see the time, we're good. These are the character occupations. We can do spouses. We can do cause of deaths. When you have that sort of information, you can interrelate them quite easily if you know Sparkle. And then it gets quite interesting because you get to see these interesting emergent properties. There was also this Srbita core, which relates to Italian translations, which was sort of a side quest for this project. And we have, these were translations to Italian, and yeah, again, we have some analysis. I won't go into details here, but it's just to showcase that this can work in different languages. So these are basically translations from Serbian to Italian, because history, I guess. Yeah, and you can see novels and their translations by date, and you can see the authors. So it's quite interesting. Again, translators and works that they translated. So you can see that some translators did more work and some less. We also have some more visualizations. You can be free to visit the Cyrillic only, I'm afraid, project page on Serbian Wikipedia, but I think graphs, can be quite easily recognized, and you can also visit WD, standing for Wikidata, jertech.rs, which has a lot more information on that. Yeah, I'm just in the interest of time, this is just an example of how these persons were recognized and transferred into Wikidata and connected to Wikidata, like Sofka and Ivko. We've had problems with, so this is one of the challenges, like Efendi, which is a Turkish word, I guess. Yes. A title of nobility or courtesy in the Ottoman Turkey, which we didn't have a word for. We just used Efendi. So it was sometimes hard to find a good match. But yeah, it goes on, and it gets quite interesting, but also quite tedious after a while, because if you have to manually check all of this, it does require a lot of time and patience to go through all of this. But it's interesting to see, like, because this has all been done by a machine learning algorithm, but a person should check it to see whether how correct it is. But it's interesting that Morava was so it's a river, well, a name of several rivers in Serbia. So it was recognized as South Morava, the Južna Morava, the southern branch of Morava, and it's been recognized as a location. So, and then several times in different forms, and Dunav as Danube, etc. So these are very important things that are precursors to all this visualization that I've shown. So yeah, Belgrade then gets mapped, and it's all interconnected basically. So in conclusion, I didn't want to dwell too much on this. There has been a lot of work here by a lot of different people, so it's very transdisciplinary. There was a lot of scanning, a lot of OCRing, a lot of machine learning stuff, corrections, tagging, annotations, corrections, and also programmatic work programming work to transfer a lot of stuff to Wikidata. So all that is now easy for a lot more pieces of work because all the elements are there. So this can and will continue because this was just an experiment to see that this type of work can be done, but it doesn't necessarily have to stop there. They're just, you need to have resources for that, personal human resources to be able to run all that and have them all as part of a single entity. So yeah, there's also a Serbian Wikibase on that Wikimedia Germany hosts. So maybe you can take a look at that because it contains more information about all these efforts. And some stuff that's not on Wikidata might end up here because Wikidata does have its scope. And yeah, if you want to contact, there are two professors, Cvetana and Ranka, who have been instrumental in this work. Also, Milica, who's there to support them in all the steps in here. And then there's me, who's just relaying this work to you, and hopefully haven't missed a lot of stuff that I was supposed to say. So thank you very much for your attention. And if you have any questions, I think we have like 5 minutes. If not, then everything is clear, right? Great. Well, thank you very much. That's it.
Hi everyone. Okay, thanks for joining this session. This session is dedicated from our perspective, how we received microgrants this year and how was the responses that we get and how we think that you should change to your goals and your metrics in your proposals, so proposals can be like a lot better in the upcoming years, but not just dedicated to the microgrants, but also to other grant possibilities that exist. So my name is Tony, and here is my colleague Barbara.
Yeah, welcome everyone. I want to add that, as Tony said, the presentation is based on our experience with rapid grants and micro grants. It also applies to other projects. It also applies to other projects, of course, because these are some basic of projects. But we want to show you and walk you through some of the examples that we have encountered and basically and help you prepare better projects. Yeah. So for every grant application that you are preparing, the structure is, no matter who the founder is it like foundation, European Union, some other external grants project, the structure of the project is always follows like the same rules. So it starts with project goals, objectives, project activities, and that includes activities that are happening before as preparation, then during the project, and also after, connected to sustainability. It's also about your team because you have to explain who will be doing what and how this will be done. So it's about people, it's about metrics, of course, and in the end, budget. Okay, so let's start immediately with some examples to make it more interesting. We kind of reworked, but also copy pasted some of the goals and objectives that we received as explanation in some of the projects that were sent to us as a hub. And I don't know if you see well on the screen. I will read it out. Maybe the first one, and I'm asking you for just like some attention because I would like your feedback if you understand this what I am about to read. So this is referring to goals and objectives. So the project is designed to revisit public places from the perspective of gender and empower artists in exile. And this is both, it refers to both goal and objectives. So if someone is brave or willing to speak, I would like to hear from you if you understand this and or comment. Yeah, perfect.
Matej here. I think my biggest thing here is what does it mean to revisit, and what is the public place you are revisiting?
Yes, to me it sounds like a combination of like buzzwords that would make the proposal more likely to get funded without explaining what it actually does.
Being bold here, if I would like to finance my personal trip, that could be the words that I would use.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for those who were brave. I hope you can hear me in spite of the rain. So yeah, these were some of the questions that both of us had when we received this grant proposal. It's very vague, like, and also with having the best possible intentions, we always go from perspective that the person who is applying has all the topic and the context in their head. So for them, it can seem like very reasonable and really clear, even in this one sentence that you are explaining it. But when you are sending your project for external evaluation, be it really simple or small, like micro grants of C Hub, or something bigger like USA, the EU project, you have to put yourself in the shoes of the evaluator, and that person, although it has project related and topic related experience, doesn't know your context. It's not like having your experience. So when framing your goal and objective, you really have to strive towards being as clear as possible. So goal, what is goal? It's a statement that explains the expected outcome of the project. So it's like this is something big, and it also consists of objectives. And objectives are, if you see them in a project way, they're parts of this goal. And then objectives are specific measurable actions items that support this goal. Okay, these are like a lot of words. I will explain on examples to have it to make it more clear to you. But the most important thing about this goal, which is supported by objectives, is they have to be smart. This is like invented word to make it clear and easy to remember for everyone. But smart means that they have to be specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. And Tony and I also added these two other sentences based on our experience. It would be good to explain it in simple words, and it has to be on operational level because you're implementing it, not really philosophical. Okay, so let's practice a bit. So again, your attention. So let's imagine that the project goal, our project goal, or project that we are now trying to write, is reviving Wikimedian community. So it's like a big goal. So what would be the objectives? Can you just try to imagine some of the objectives? like it's the list is indefinite. So, but just having in mind that it has to be something that you can measure, that it's clear, that is time bound. What could be like some of the objectives? Who dares? Same people, new people.
Sorry. I think I would start with membership. So increasing membership or having events, more events where members or more members come.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
So Mate said that he would like then that the objective would be increase the number of events. You can also comment on each other or add new things.
Another objective that I would set is to provide structures on long term to build capacity onto the members in order to increase the consolidation of the group, to begin a process that will consolidate the group and will allow a building experience to the members of the community that we want to build.
Okay, but try to be more specific. When you say construct, you are focusing on structures. You have to like think a bit deeper. So what would this structure be like? Just a bit more defining.
Capacity building, to build capacity
Okay.
on the members to be able in the future to organize and run their own events.
Okay. Thank you, Nikos. Okay. I here outline some of the possible objectives, and the list is, as I said, indefinite. So as I mentioned, you have to think about those that smart rule. So one example, growing number of active contributors by some percentage within certain amount of months. So you're trying to define it as much as possible. You are trying to say like, okay, I'm trying to work on this, and this is the time that I will use. Also increase contributor retention rate by, again, some percentage. And again, you are defining how many months you want to spend on this. It can be something close to what Mate said, organizing some events, collaborative events, whatever, competitions within, again, some time-bound process. Yeah, it's about you trying now to define that goal on a bit lower level and defining it more precisely. Then the person who is reading it, evaluator, understands, okay, this group has something serious in mind. There is some time which is explained here. It's like very concrete goal that they are trying to achieve. We are not talking about, okay, some buzzwords that then artificial intelligence even constructs for you, because you can even write projects like that nowadays. But it should be like really precise. That person who is like reading can connect with you and see, okay, this intention here is real. Okay, moving from goals and objectives, we go to activities.
Yeah. So about project activities, that is a major part of the every grant application and grant proposal that we received. It's also we will listed some of the examples that we got in our proposal so far. So I will one of that is like very vague. So I want to take photos of hidden places, then improve and create the articles about. Find uncategorized files of something and add specific categories. So we don't know how much is the time, how much is well, where they will go, how is the they will go, if they had the experience with that. So they do not explain fully the chronological order how they gonna do that. So in a very you want to explain your project activities, you need to explain like in details, but not like also to be like very long, but to give good sense to the evaluation committee or that evaluator, that he or she can understand quite well in the first sentences of your project activities what it is going to happen in the project. And we with these examples, we want to give you attention and awareness that when you're creating vague or like long or not full details of the applications, then it has goal and with the work of the your grant applications, it is takes much longer time because it needs explanation from your side, and it makes the work quite harder, not just for you but also for the evaluators. And in some instances, it then the rapid proposal or that micro grant is not so fast and so like it should be. So basically, I already mentioned some of the good things that every project activity should contain, and that is to give information how you can implement the project itself. So to be clear, I want to change something, or I want to promote something, that to be very clear, to explain why you need to do that. So what was the problem that you want to fix it in the first place? To hear that background story that we don't know as evaluators. As I mentioned already, to include details of these activities that will happen online or offline, so to give us perspective to know what is gonna happen during these activities, to immediately know, okay, they will have an event, it will happen in October, it will take 2 days, they will organize a session in the first half of the day, then they will proceed with some editathon. So it is immediately clear that they want to have they even had agenda in their mind how they will spend that day. And very important at the end is that always provide external links, so or internal links on wiki, that we can check it with further details. So you do not want to spend to write I don't know 2 pages of your project activities if you already had that enough some pages dedicated to that project that you want just to revolve or to again to revive, to continue just. So if you had that project already on a wiki or off wiki, but just some external page, you can just provide that link, and the evaluator can read quite more about that you want to proceed. And about team, this is very interesting, and almost in every applications we received just names. Okay, we know you, we understand who are you, but still it is not just you. On example, if Mate is applicant, and here it's and he mentioned just Mate like a name, we know Mate, but we don't know the team behind Mate. Okay, with Mate will be cooperating with somebody else, and I don't know, he's his friend, or his coworker or something else. So we need to know what is the role that other person will be that will be included in the application. What is their role? What they will bring to this project. So to give more details about these people, why they were selected in the first place. So basically, it is not okay, he is my good friend, and that's it. That's not good enough in the grant proposals. Probably you should mention that he's a good photographer, or he knows how to organize events. He is good with financials. He knows how to organize events in the first place. So basically, it's like a call to everyone to avoid using just names, although it is the even when the call and the proposals it's very like closed, and the people when you're applying they know you. You need to explain quite a lot about that. And as I mentioned, is to also like previously, please include external links, links that we can follow up for these persons, how it is their work. We can see at least on Wiki, it's very easy to find that like a history page of editing or their uploads and comments. But even as a Wikimedians, we can follow up the work of them, like when they organize some events in the past. We come to the metrics, and this is definitely the thing that for many of you is maybe the hardest part of every grant proposals. And basically we received quite a lot applications when the applicants struggle to measure their activities properly, and especially that is with our microgrant program. And I will mention here, like even like our target number for participants is 10 with 2 organizers. We don't know almost nothing or what is behind these sentences. Okay, 10, but what is 10? Like just if they will edit something, if they will upload images, if they will be just participants, if it will be just a guest. So it is very unclear. And for the metrics, you should include like some divide. So it's good to have like to be like to be like clear, short, and measurable. But that to be like an example, we want to engage with 30 people, okay, and then you can split the number. It's 5 organizers, 15 editors, and then people who will continue the activities on Commons on or Wikidata or whatever else. So second point is that you need to adjust your metrics according to your project. It is not always connected with Wikipedia or like editors or editing. It should be like your measurement can be quite different when you're engaging with Wikimedia activities and not connected initially with Wikipedia and creating articles or uploading photos. And the very last, the measurement or the metrics shouldn't be like just a number that you just come up from your head, but you need to think about in front, like before you apply, and it should be ambitious, but in the first place, but also like to be realistic. So, an example, if you're organizing for the first time editathon and you just want and you live in small country, you will not say that you will engage with 100 people. It is unrealistic that you will have 100 people on your first event. You can easily start with 40, 50 maybe, but even that is ambitious. But still, with good promotion or something that you already know, or you are had cooperation with some university, it can be realistic.
Yeah, now our favorite part, budget, money. So here are some examples. I will again read it out if it's not really clear. So it's project manager compensation, 500. Catering, 1 unit, 700. Travel by bus for 3 people, 200. Printing promotion material, 1 unit, 70. Promotion social networks, 150. Okay, I can again ask you to explain, but the bottom line is that it's not clear. From this explanation, we don't understand what the unit is, what the travel is, where are you going, where back you are traveling. Even with the explanation of the staff member, it's not clear what amount of hours, what kind of arrangement. So I created, okay, so let's go how the budget should look. It should reflect your activity. So everything what was explained in the project, like literally activity by activity, has to now transfer, like related to finances, into your budget. Even some things, for example, that you have gotten as pro bono, so someone is willing to give you room for free, include it in the project, because then it's clear for us that you're counting on this venue, and mark it as a zero in the budget. Just mark how you're getting it as explanation pro bono from someone because you have partner NGO who is willing to give it to you. Budget should be realistic. It should take into account your local context. People who are checking, evaluating are able to check local context, so keep that in mind. And it's always for smaller projects like these micro grants, maybe it's not that relevant, but even if you go to a bit bigger, rapid ones, or even larger, it's not just, you can't just invent sums from your head or by heart. It's good to ask or get 2 or 3 quotes to have like some kind of comparison, so you know, or not, like you don't have to ask quotes. You can go to Booking or some other website, you compare prices of hotel rooms or tickets, so you know realistically what kind of amount you're talking about. Anyhow, it should be clear like which amount and which unit is financed. And I created this example, so I will briefly walk you through. It has just imaginary 3 categories. I'm starting with staff. So it's about if you're including project management, project manager, and it's a staff member, well, then in explanation, you ideally, in all grants, especially bigger ones, repeating, and not to even say annual ones, you have to define this person is working full-time, part-time, how many hours a week, how many hours approximately per month that equals. Unit is a month because person is employee. Number of units, I don't know how much you need for this project. Maybe person is not working full-time. So you work it from there to get like the complete estimate of the cost. If you're going for B option, like project manager is a freelancer, then maybe you're defining this in days or hours, but then again, you explain to us what the unit is, you explain how many units you need, and again, then we can clearly understand how you got to that final budget amount, that cost. Okay, also example of the facilitator. You need this person not full-time, obviously, it's only for a few hours. Then the unit is hour, you explain how much it costs per hour, and you get to final amount. Other budget categories, and these can be like many more. I just pointed out some which are the most used in the grants that we got. Travel and events. International travel budget line. You need to explain, is it like bus ticket, flight, traveling by car, how many kilometers? It needs to anyhow be explained and then defined what kind of unit it is and for how many people, so we can also understand. Accommodation applies the same. We need to understand if the project, if you're explaining that you're implementing activity which lasts 2 days, well, then it's logical that you will need at least 2, but ideally 3 nights per person, because if they're traveling outside of their initial location. And we need to understand how you came to that number. So in explanation, just provide these numbers. Are you talking about single rooms, double rooms? How many people, how many days? Same goes for food. Also, for example, interpretation costs during the meeting. With equipment and materials, it's a bit easier, but also it needs some explanation. For example, if you're purchasing equipment, laptop, something bigger, smaller, you explain for whom that is. Will it be used during the whole time of the project? Are you talking about renting, buying? You're explaining the number of units. And about swag, if you tell to us like 1 unit, that doesn't mean anything. Swag can be anything from badge to bag, t-shirts. You need to explain like, again, numbers and what kind of material you're talking about. When building project like this, it's easier for you to understand how much money you need. It's also easier for the person who is evaluating to know what you are doing. But also something that can help, that you can prevent, is that the person who is evaluating can see some gaps. For example, I'm looking at this, and by reading your project, I see that you are talking about 3-day event and you are planning only 3 nights. Maybe I come back to you and I ask, like, maybe you need 1 night more because people are traveling. So it can also avoid some mistakes that can happen because someone else can ask you constructive questions and get feedback. And this basically really also shows that you are serious about this project. You really thought through what you are doing and how this looks in real life. Yeah, that's about budget, and that's about our presentation. And we wanted to leave some time for questions and answers. But before that, we understand that this format, like 45 minutes, it's only for some introduction. I want to say that C Hub, one of our main administrative core activities, is providing support to construct projects, write grant applications. So if you have interest to dig deeper, to think about, brainstorm about your idea, or if you want to start constructing project, you can contact us definitely afterwards, and we can start doing this together from scratch or from some idea that you have. This basically refers just to some basic questions for now. So everyone who wants to work, contact us.
Nobody else? Yeah. Well, my question is, what do you think about adding some kind of cushioning into the budget, right? Either if you have a, like, let's say a flight, right, and you have some kind of estimate, but they change, right? That's one thing. And then sometimes it's said that it's good practice to include 20% or 10% or some kind of percentage at the end as kind of like extra unforeseen, something like that. What is your thinking here?
Yeah, definitely a good question. What we've seen now on the majority of the projects that we received is that people take into account, they either build this a bit high, they count prices a bit higher, but I would not recommend this. I would recommend that you just calculate, for example, 10%. Okay, it depends on the size of the project, but you calculate some kind of buffer zone like contingency. And then you have additional amount of money, which is then available if prices change or something extraordinary happens, inflation, whatever. So definitely good to think about this, not to like worry about every single thing that you're then doing. In the end, like final line, you just write contingency, let's say 8-10%. You explain how much, ideally in percentages, and then that percentage of the grant. But it's good. What we were doing for the hub, for example, was 10 or 8%, but it's bigger project. Then on the smaller ones, you can just see maybe it needs a bit more, maybe 10, 15, even on the smaller projects like 500. Definitely good to do.
Hi again. I understand that CE Hub have open like a region area, covering, but still Central Asia we are also here. I was curious about is there any plans like, or maybe are you planning to include Central Asian region also for the CE Hub microgrant, for example?
Yeah, microgrants this year was open just for the C communities, and it's basically a steering committee decision, and that is the body above us as the staff members, and they will it's because we will have like at the end of this year like a report of this like how it all went with the microgrants. So maybe it will be changed for the next year, but it is up onto them.
So yeah, the topic is definitely on, and the new steering committee that we will have will be deciding about next year.
Yeah, thank you. And the next question is about budget. And is there any like specific maybe Excel form to create it, or only it's open? Like,
Currently for microgrants, I had like a basic simple form that it can be used because it is only 500 euros, so it's up to 500 euros. It can be only starting from 50. So it's very simple. It is not like Barbara shown with the compensation and traveling and like that. But yes, it exists in the application form.
It's in the Google Forms.
Yeah, the Google form.
Well, from Slovenia, we did get a small micro grant this year for 500 euros, but when we get to museum, they didn't want to charge us, and three less people on the lunch, so we were about 130 euros leftovers. So I returned this money, no problem. But is there a way to spend it for something else, or it is necessary to return it? Really?
Yeah. Currently, due to the Wikimedia Polska, and that is our fiscal sponsor, they ask like unspent money to be returned, and that is like basically technical problem. But yes, I know, and we spoke about that. You will need to create another like another proposal and then another application to be approved. I know that is bureaucratical and administration and bank fees and everything, but nowadays it's like this. Okay. Yeah. Thanks. And we are here. Like our contact is on Meta, and you can schedule a separate meeting if you want. We're uh, almost almost yeah. Yeah. Thanks for the participating.
What about now? Yay. Okay, so hello to my presentation. As the title states, I'm going to talk about unity through understanding. And in the registration form, I said I'm going to focus on last year's project. That was the Polish Wikipedia conflict management project. But short disclaimer, since it was a year ago, and now it's 2024, so we came up with some new ideas actually. And I'm also going to speak about what we are doing at the moment in Wikimedia Poland, because I suppose I can show it as a in a chronicle order, in a way so you can see what lessons did we learn from the project on conflict management. And the other thing is that I think the very unity through understanding is a process itself. Like it's not that we can understand each other at one meeting and then go home and everybody's happy. No, people are changing. The movement is changing. There are more people coming. There are some people who leave. So it's very, very important to focus on this. And yeah, so I'm going to mention at least 3 projects that we have now. But what is typical for all of them is that they are stationary meetings that we did with some help of some other institutions. We had some money from grants. And yes, these are soft skills that we want to boost. And again, I'm going to talk more about these actual skills in a second. This is the agenda that I've just mentioned. So first of all, I will tell you what 2023 did to us and where are we now, what are we doing right now. And then we continue with the lessons that we learned and the lessons that we are learning, since I have a feeling that this is like, again, a process not only for the participants, but also for the organizers. Therefore, I think I can come back in a year and tell us what I found out after this year. It's pretty exciting, actually, and I encourage you to allow your communities as well to have such kind of workshops, because these are important. I myself am a community support specialist, and now I'm senior, but I used to be a junior when I came to Wikimedia Poland in 2022. So it was 2 years ago. Like, it was November. It was cloudy and dark. But I enjoyed my first day at work, and then with the process of learning, I started to understand more and more. But it was nice that I had this chance to first be more like a participant and an observer. What I believe is that the perspective really matters. And when we had the last year's project, I had the chance not to be like the organizer herself, but somebody who can just be there and get to know what's going on and look at people, look at their reactions. And this is like a very, very good perspective that you should also like encompass. And as I said, nowadays things change, so I'm more like an owner to the project, and it means that when somebody struggles with something, they can come to me and tell me, "Hey, what's going on?" And it's me who's going to be responsible for this. Therefore, I decided to give you some advice. Some general advice. I think these are universal. I think you can use these in your communities, whether you have like a similar amount of community members or less. I tried to make this slide so as everybody can use it. You don't have to be me, but you can if you want to. Okay, you can disagree, but of course when I'm done. Okay, so first I'm going to start with the last year's project, and we only have one slide on it, but I think everything that is needed is involved in it. And as I said, I'm going to treat it as something what we can look at, and we can think about what went good, what went wrong, what we draw from this experience. So there was a group of about 15 to 20 people that we invited for foreign main workshops. There was more going on. And these people were mostly wiki trainers in Wikimedia Polska. We have such a group, and this group is responsible for coming to the schools, coming to the universities. Sometimes they can talk to some group of people who work together, for example, and teach them how to edit. So this is a very, very important group for us. All of them are volunteers, and they were invited to the project. Not only them, the group was broader. We had some empty spaces, so we decided to open the registration to anyone who was willing to take part in this. And we had 4 main workshops, and I named them here. So there was mediation, facilitation, and visual thinking. I know I named 3, but the one was both stationary and online, so it counts as 2. And I'm briefly going to explain what do these mean. So mediation is a way of resolving conflicts when you have 2 parts who fight with each other. You have the third person, the third part, who is neutral, and the task of such a person is to come to these people, talk to them, listen to them carefully, and try to find the solution. try to find the consensus that they both can accept, that they both can feel good with. So we had this training. It was 2 days long. Later on, we had the facilitation training, and the facilitation is a method of making decisions. So there is a person. This person can be from the outside or the organization or from the inside, it depends. And this person helps to go through the process of decision making. As I said, sometimes people are going to find some conclusion. Something that they decide on is going to be implemented. Sometimes it's not that easy. For example, the goal is to cut options that they have. And it's done both stationary and online. So we offered it to our participants also in these two ways. So they could like both meet up and see how does it work in real life, but also online. We had an online workshop for them. So again, 2 more days of meetings and trainings. And the last one was visual thinking. And visual thinking is a way of imagining things, is thinking through images. We learned how to draw. We learned how to attract people's attentions, not only through the words, but also through images that you can draw, that you can produce. It was pretty fun. And as I said, there were some other activities for a wider audience. We have an annual meeting of Wikipedians every year, and again we had a session on conflict management and so on, and it was for everybody to take part. And there was also one meeting for wiki trainers. They met at the beginning of February, and they were talking about how to have like a perfect workshop on which you can teach people how to edit Wikipedia. So it was something more, for the people who know how to do it. So they needed to decide it between them. It was like training the trainers. And so these are the results on the right. So our participants were really, really grateful. They were telling us that they love trainings with us, that they feel more connected, that they had the chance to integrate with other participants. And that's pretty cool, actually. And yeah, we really hoped for such answers. Yet the problem appeared when we asked them whether they want to use these skills, whether they feel ready to use these skills, both in real life, like in their private lives, and online in Wiki. And whereas they said that with facilitation in the visual thinking was, yes, we are going to do that. We are really, really excited to try it out. And this is something that will help. There was different story with mediation, since there were many people who claimed that they are not ready yet. It was 40%, and we had like 30% of people who said, not sure yet. So there was only 30% of people who said, okay, now I'm ready, now I know how to mediate. And of course, we can think about some causes of that. But I personally think that maybe it's because of the fact that nobody likes working in an environment in which there are conflicts, me included. And what we encounter in our community, but I think it's probably more general, is that these three aspects are interconnected. So there's conflict that cause burnout and the problems with communication, but the other way around is true. So the problems with communication bring about conflicts and burnout. So these are very, very like serious topics that we decided to focus on. And again, as I said, I have a feeling it's a whole process. So we want to invite different groups to try to work out on some solutions. And like the stationary meetings that I named are important, since they let people like to see each other, to face each other, to talk to each other in real life, and because they don't have regular meetings that often, or if they do, they meet in the one particular place. We meet like twice a year as a whole community, but that's probably not enough because conflicts like appear every single day, and such things make many people resign or withdraw, and we really want to prevent it if it is possible. I believe it is possible. Therefore, we decided that the problem, we should name the problem, and we should try to work on it even more in 2024. So yeah, this year we have two different here I call them workshops, but these are projects. Actually, these are like shortcuts. The name is wider, but for the sake of this presentation, I called this cyber skills for Wikipedians and the Polish admins project. This is the project that Tomek yesterday mentioned during his presentation. And yeah, the first project on cyber skills is done with cooperation with Techs of Poland, and we got a grant. And thanks to this grant, we can offer people some workshop on bettering the communication and preventing burnout as well. So we gathered the group again of 20 people. We invited wiki trainers. We invited people who invite the newcomers as well. But again, we had some empty spots, so we decided to fill them with anyone who wanted to be a part of such meeting. Yeah. So now we do have this training. It's going to be on Saturday, so I'm pretty excited of what it's going to bring. And people are going to talk about reacting to hate speech on the internet, about assertiveness, about how do they feel. We want to like give them the platform where they can feel safe and where they can share their problems, where they can see how do they feel. So it's